Good morning. Did y'all know that the book The Wreck of the Titanic, written by Morgan Robinson, was written 14 years after the Titanic sank? Hello, my name is Midori Santana, and today I will be speaking about the Titanic shipwreck. The Titanic is the world's largest tragedy that does not have to do with war. And it's very important for us to know the past and how the Titanic sank and how it was built. I remember when I first saw the Titanic, I was very intrigued with this movie, and I genuinely wanted to learn more about it. The Titanic was built. Let's begin with the glorious day the Titanic launch, and then we're gonna talk about how it led to its destruction. The Titanic was launched around the year 1962, and it weighed 15,000 tons, and it was 100 feet long. The Titanic, also known as her or she, because it was a female, carried roughly about 300 people, and it had about 900 people working there. The Titanic was considered as the unsinkable ship. It was indestructible. It was built with the world's largest security at the time, and it had all the best equipment due to injuries and to certain things that happened. The boss officer, Henry Wilde, composed his sister a letter from the boat saying that, "I don't care for this boat. I have a strange feeling about it." Okay, now we go. Despite the safety features, the Titanic was no match for the iceberg. The first venture was very bad. The Titanic was leaving Ireland at 1:30 p.m. on April 10th, 1912, going to New York. It was a very cold night, and the boat hit an iceberg. When the iceberg hit, no, everybody was in shock because everybody knew that the Titanic was known as the unsinkable ship. So, as the boat started to go down, there was 20 rafts on the boat. Every raft fit about 1,200 people. The rafts were rapidly filled with ladies and kids. I would say that 1,000 people's lives were lost during this shipwreck. At 4:10 p.m., the Titanic was shattered in pieces, and a lot of people died. And no one knew what was going on because the world was in shock that the world's greatest ship hit an iceberg. The captain was warned that, there's an iceberg coming, and he didn't care. He was just like, we're gonna be able to make it. Let's go with the film that was being portrayed. There was a film out called The Titanic, and it was written, produced, and directed by James Cameron. Cameron spent all of his money trying to make this film, trying to make the story as real, as pure as possible. The Titanic, he spent 12 hours each day trying to film this movie. Making the Titanic cost a lot of money, and it was a lot of work. He had to go read history books. He had to go dig back, had to do a whole bunch of research in order to get the facts straight. Even though the movie is fictional, and because the movie has fictional characters like Jack and Rose that were not in like the actual sinking of the Titanic. The Titanic is about, the movie Titanic is about 55% true. The characters and the way it happened weren't. The boat was built in California, in Mexico, and it was 7 million gallons on an oceanfront tank. The movie roughly made about $1 billion. It was the world's number one film. The Titanic won 8 Golden Globes, and it was named for a record 14 Academy Award. In this speech today, I discussed the Titanic itself, I discussed the sinking of the ship, and then I discussed the movie that was made out about the Titanic. From the debacle to the film, the sinking of the Titanic remains as one of the world's most misfortunate events in history. Taking everything into account, as we read the book, we see the movie, we go dig back into history, it appears that predictions and all that the boat was going to sink no matter what, even if it was built on the world's most renowned safety. Whatever the case may be, the lives that were lost in the Titanic was gigantic, and it would never be forgotten. It would be something that would be carried day to day, and we will go by remembering it as the world's most terrible shipwreck in society. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys learned about the Titanic.